Emil Kadlec and Armando Marçal. This video number, I think, 4 of the Diehards draft strategy. This week we're going to use season long. We've been doing best ball. I'm glad we got a season long in because it's slightly different. It's a slower draft. We got 90 seconds to pick. It's on Fantasy Scout. It's their starter leagues, their $35 leagues. They're a great way to play relatively cheaply, and you're playing people all around the country. How's it going, Armando?
It's going well. Pretty excited about tonight's show. You know, we finally are doing a season-long league. There's waivers. So, you know, our strategy, you're probably going to tell here tonight, it does change a little bit. Tonight I am going to try to go a little bit more balanced.
We're going to find out.
I'm in the 12. You guys many risks tonight. I promise that. I'm in the 12 hole. I like picking here, you know, at the number 12 pick. And you're a couple picks right ahead of me at 9, right?
Yeah, 9. Not a bad spot. It'll be interesting to see how this first round flows. I'm going to be looking at, assuming certain players are gone, I'm looking at either Hopkins or Fournette. You know, we'll see what happens. You know, as you're predicting, you're estimating. I've got my list ready to go, obviously, and it's going to be fun. I can't talk. You know, we can't talk about it because you know we're pretty close this time. We're not at the ends. Last time we were, you know, I was at 1 and you were at 11 or something. And,
yeah. Last time it was a little bit easier, but I have a feeling, you know, you'll be taking some guys, a couple picks right before me.
I hope so. And you'll get me on the even round. Now, you're free ahead of me on the even round, so hey, you'll get me there. Yeah, what do we got? We got about 50 seconds before the draft, so I'll flip over to the draft list, and hopefully everything's logged in and we're ready to go. Sometimes I'm dealing with this system that does the recording, so it says it's logged in and ready to go. So, yeah, 34 seconds. Any final thoughts in the last 30 seconds before the draft starts?
No, I mean, at this point, if there's 30 seconds left in your draft and you're not ready, I mean, you're going to be here for a long evening. So,
well, there'll be a couple of those. All right, let me go flip over here. All right, so there's the board. Hopefully everybody can see the board, and there's 12 seconds before the draft. It says Assassins are the first team. I hope that's not Brad Cruz. I hope that's somebody else because Brad's a good player.
Oh, yeah. Assassin has been active on the chat here, I saw. So
yep. Well, Todd Gurley just went. Yeah, it's probably not him. He'd be more coy. All right, let me get my little cheat sheet ready and mark off Todd Gurley.
So Gurley went number 1 overall.
Yeah, let's see. I can't tell. Let me go to the board. One thing you'll notice is there's going to be a number next to the player in the big board that everybody can see on the video, and it went 1 and 2. That's the count at each skill position, which I love in a draft board. So you're in the middle round, and you can look down and say, oh, 25 running backs have gone, and you know, 16 receivers, and it really helps you kind of decide where you want to go with your next skill position drafting.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really cool feature, actually, and thank you for pointing it out because I hadn't noticed it.
I did that for the customers, not for you. Just kidding.
I know. For the listeners and the watchers, and you know, hey, thank Emil. I mean, not many people will think of doing that, but this is actually it is a really cool feature.
Yeah, look at there, Ezekiel Elliott. Evidently, this person's not worried about the offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys.
I actually have some big concerns there. You know, I was tentative about it before, you know, some of the injuries occurred. I was already concerned about his potential. I know he was going to get a ton of volume, but these O-line issues are a bit concerning for me. I'm
worried too.
At this point, I have him 4th overall running back, and to me, it's going to be very close. If I'm drafting and I have him and you know, Fournette, and you know, I'm going to have a tough time making that decision in any home league.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do. I've got to rethink it because you don't want to ignore preseason's preseason, but we know these guys are the one guy's out. I forget his name. I don't have it in front of me, but well, anyway, it's a concern.
Cook?
No, the one of the offensive linemen.
Oh, you're talking about the offensive lineman. Okay.
Travis Frederick.
I think Martin too.
Yeah, it's a problem, and I hate to ignore it, but could Ezekiel Elliott overcome that with the pass catching? I personally would take David Johnson.
I think he's going to have to.
So are you worried about, there goes Kamari with the 5th pick or the 6th pick in the round? I guess I'm going to have to start thinking here.
Yeah, when Kamara, wouldn't be surprised to see Barkley go ahead of you and maybe Cook, or Hopkins and Barkley, something of that nature.
So Queen went, that helps me because that means one of my players I like is going to fall to me. What is it? We have one more pick before me. I've got either Hopkins or Fournette. So if this guy takes Hopkins, I take Fournette, vice versa.
I'm hoping he does not take any of them.
Because you want one to slide all the way to the 12th. Well, no, Fournette could slide.
Fournette has slid to me in the 12th pick already in one of our shows that we did earlier. I think it was 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not sure because I hear more and more people talk about him now. I've had him ranked 5th overall in running backs and 6th overall in my overall rankings, and there he goes. So I didn't think he was going to get to me there at 12. That would be wishful.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to draft a player. It says auto pick, make pick. That I don't like the way they have that so small, but it is. I see what it is, and I supposedly just picked. There he is, Hopkins, my #1 rated running back. So both those guys are gone. Now let's see what comes back to me. That's a lot of picks to the 6 more picks before my next pick, so it's going to be interesting to see what falls to me. And you got to start thinking about options now that Fournette is gone.
I do, and that's now where it gets a little tricky because you do have to make those adjustments. But I wasn't expecting him to be there. I have an idea of who might be there for me. It's probably going to be
Hunt. Just went.
See, that was one of the guys on my board there.
You're on deck. These people they're taking their time on these first round picks.
I see that. We think it go a little quicker.
Yeah, it's after playing so many best ball leagues where it's a 60-minute clock and people seem to be quicker at it on top of it, it's a little bit of an adjustment. That doesn't hurt, gives us time to think.
And I heard now I'm on deck. So it's the team 11 is still on the clock, huh?
Yep. 20 seconds left.
Wow.
Maybe they went to get a beer out of the refrigerator or something.
That makes sense.
I was worried in the first round if some of these guys stepped away from their computer, even though he's got a green button here. But I think there's a problem with Team 11 because I wouldn't think he'd last this long. And let's see what he ends up with.
Maybe he can't find the little button that says make pick.
Yeah, it wasn't very... Gordon just went. He took Gordon whether he wanted him or not, and it's your pick.
Oh, man. So I am faced with the decision here. All right, so I'm going to go... See the make pick here. All right, I'm going to go with... And... So I'm not going to waste any time here. Get my guys. So I went Odell Beckham and Dalvin Cook.
Ah, cool.
Two players I am very high on.
And
top 10 players in my rankings.
Oh, wonderful. And you've got, ODB's got his new contract, so.
Yeah, so there's no concern about him sitting out or anything, although I don't think it was going to happen anyways.
Nah. But everything's gone. They don't have to think about it. Now, by the way, for the watchers and stuff, at the end of the first round, we have 3 receivers and 9 running backs, and that little feature I'm telling you about, it's a nice one. And you took the 10th running back. So heavy running back right now so far. I got to get 4 guys on my list here. Oh, I only need 3 guys on my list. Now, what do you think about Julio Jones here? Are you worried about him?
No, I am not. I really do like him this year. I think, for whatever reason he's, going. I would be okay with him going in the first round, honestly. Towards the end of the first round, the 12th pick like I had, assuming Odell Beckham would have gone, to Team Chandler at 11, I probably would have gone Dalvin Cook and Julio Jones, or Julio Jones, Dalvin Cook, whatever order you want to put it is fine with me. I really do think Calvin really adds a really good dimension to this offense, because he's going to have defenses focus on him and leave some room for Julio Jones to get open, get some red zones. And if you look at his numbers last year, they really weren't that bad. He just did not score touchdowns, and I think that changes. I think a receiver like him is way too talented not to score touchdowns, at will.
Well, Keenan Allen just went with the second pick in the second round. It's an excellent pick.
See, but look what you see what Team Chandler did. He went Melvin Gordon, and then he went Keenan Allen. I don't like that.
Yeah, why do you not like that?
I think you're limiting your upside, and you're, whenever the Chargers struggle offensively, you're just going to have a bad fantasy week. I really don't think that is necessary.
Well, right now I'm looking at Christian McCaffrey or Julio Jones.
And I think whichever the two you land is perfectly fine.
I'd like to get some. By golly, Julio Jones went. So, that I could consider Devontae Adams right now, or Michael Thomas or whatnot. But the fact I don't have a running back, and I have no shares of Christian McCaffrey, I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey. And I have successfully drafted him. And I'm a little surprised he lasted. I'm kind of glad he lasted there. There's a lot of buzz about him now. All of a sudden, back in month or so ago, everybody said that he's just not going to get the touches. He's not going to get the opportunities. And now all of a sudden people are scratching their head thinking, maybe he will.
Yeah, I think so.
I know PPR dynamo.
It's realistic. He is. And I'll be honest, in this format, in PPR formats, I'd take McCaffrey over Melvin Gordon. Just feel that McCaffrey's going to have a big season.
Well, I've kind of lately, I'm unfortunately a very emotional drafter, and I just think McCaffrey could end up, I think he's got a high ceiling. I know he's small, 197 pounds or whatever. Emmitt Smith was 205, but it's all about being able to, whatever your size is, you got to be able to stay healthy. And it's his second year. I like second year guys. Have a chance to develop 80 catches in his rookie season. Second rounds, is you're giving up a second round pick to get this guy, but I like it. Oh, looky there, we got some picks. Michael Thomas.
And in 2015, this is something that I kind of dug into simply because I have a lot of interest in McCaffrey this season. But in 2015 in college, he attempted 337 rushes for 2,019 yards, averaged 6 yards a carry. So if that doesn't show you that he could carry the workload, with no problem, I don't know what else you need, because those are impressive numbers in college to me.
Yeah, the other thing that helps him is they've got C.J. Anderson in Carolina now, which I don't think is going to hurt him. Well, that was mean, wasn't it? Sorry.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, what's interesting about the draft is I got a top 2 or 3 receiver, and I have Hopkins as my number 2 or 3 receiver, first or second receiver. And McCaffrey is my 11th running back, and I kind of feel there's a bit of a level there. So I was able to get a top 2 or 3 receiver, which I think there's kind of a level there. And then I was able to get the running back, my first running back, at just as we hit a level. So if I'm right with my cheat sheet, I was fortunate there with my picks.
Correct.
Diggs just went.
Great way to look at it.
Gronk.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to look at it. Yep, Gronk went. There you go. It's typically where he's been going.
Yep. Hey, they're starting to draft much quicker. Devontae Freeman goes to Team Gant, G-A-N-T-T, the third team. So that would be the 10th pick in the second round.
So we got 12 running backs off the board now, and 9 receivers.
Yeah, receivers are catching up.
You're gonna start seeing. Yeah, you're gonna start seeing even out now.
Yeah, because you're looking at the running backs. You got McKinnon, McCoy, Mixon, Drake, Howard, Collins, Ajayi. Those, they're not as for sure things, and there's still some receivers that boy, wouldn't it be great if Tyreek Hill made it to me in the third? That's impossible. I don't think he's going to make it.
I think he's been moving up, but I don't think it's impossible. I know he's been moving up,
an interesting guy is Baldwin, because everybody's forgotten about Baldwin. Doug Baldwin for Seattle because he's been out.
Yeah, there's just some uncertainty there. I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be fine to start the season, but there's a lot of uncertainty, and I wasn't too keen on him, prior to the injury. However,
he's a non-sexy pick. He's a guy who you look at him and you just go, he's not. But then you look at his numbers, and he's a top 12, top 13 running back or wide receiver the last few years.
Correct.
T.Y. Hilton goes with the last pick in the second round, right after Mike Evans.
Yeah, and I love that pick. He's someone I've been talking about for a couple months now, and now Andrew Luck is healthy as expected, as we were expecting, and Hilton could be in for a huge season. We saw a couple years ago. He just
could be. The question is,
there you go, Doug Baldwin.
There we are. I shouldn't talk about him, huh?
There we go. Apparently,
this next pick's going to be tougher.
Assassin is watching the show.
Now, we didn't. I haven't been keeping a good track, but Allen Robinson for Chicago, did he get much playing time here in the preseason? How do we feel about this guy coming back from that injury? Have we seen anything to show us that he's healthy?
I mean, no, we haven't seen much to show that he's healthy. It's just a matter of a leap of faith here, I think, with Allen Robinson, because a team could be taking light on their players in the preseason because they don't want to risk any injury. I believe we've seen that with Dalvin Cook. We've seen it with Allen Robinson. These are guys that, so long as they're playing and so long as they're healthy, they should produce numbers. Allen Robinson, it might be a little bit of a different scenario for him because he's on a new team. As much as I like the quarterback here, at least his future, he's still young. He's still going to make mistakes. So there are concerns there with Trubisky. A new scheme for Robinson. But if you ask me from a talent perspective, I think he's the most talented receiver on this in this offense. And we've seen him produce some big numbers, all a matter of if he can stay healthy and if he can be healthy, week one. So, and I think that's going to be a non-issue come the start of the season.
Well, we'll find out. I always worry, and unfortunately, I've heard stats that the first year back from significant injuries, you lose about 30% of your value, but we'll see. Landry just went.
You're taking on a big risk because these are you're paying a premium price for. If it's someone you're talking about mid-late round, then okay. I mean, there's not a ton of risk involved, but you're inheriting a ton of risk here when you're taking Allen Robinson at his current ADP.
What do you think about Joe Mixon?
I love Joe Mixon this year. I think I actually like this offense a ton. I think this is one of those offenses that you really think of the Bengals. You think, I'm not too excited about, but I am. I think Joe Mixon's in for a big season. This is an offensive line that has improved a little bit. AJ Green has looked good so far. Ross has looked good so far. Andy Dalton, he's not the greatest of quarterbacks, but he has a lot of weapons, and he's basically going for free here. And if you look at Tyler Eifert, he's healthy. So I think this is an offense that can produce a ton of value in drafts, because if you look at everyone's ADPs here, they're relatively cheap when you think of price.
Well, let me look here. I'm looking at, we just had Adam Hall just put an article up on offensive lines this morning. Let me see where Cincinnati falls. Right in the middle, 19th. Yeah, not great. There's Tyreek Hill. There was my hope that man would last another 4 picks.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
So
now, what do you think about
off the board already?
Yeah. Now, Jerick McKinnon for San Francisco. So many people love this guy, and I just remember he was just kind of an above-average player in Minnesota, but I know it's a different style of offense, but I can't get that out of my head, and I have a pick and 3 more picks, and he's definitely one of the guys that's sitting there for me that I could consider. What do you think about him?
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with him is the upside is certainly there, without a doubt. This offensive scheme really fits his strengths. But the problem is, durability. Is he going to last all season? He's already dealing with a calf injury. He hasn't played and will be sidelined until the start of the season. So that's just the issue in taking McKinnon. But the upside is certainly there. If he does stay healthy, he should produce, huge numbers here, especially in PPR formats. He's shown the ability to, catch passes and catching 40 passes in each of the last 2 seasons. So a ton to like here. But to me, it's just a matter of, is he going to stay healthy? But we can say that about a lot of running backs, in the league. So it is worth, and I think his ADP has been dropping steadily because of him being out and people kind of forgetting about his name of all the hype that we saw, maybe a month or 2 ago. So I think it's a pretty decent price you're paying for McKinnon.
Yeah, well, he just went.
So apparently every time you mention the name, they draft him.
Yeah. Who's the guy you want to take next? I'll start mentioning his name. Just kidding.
I can't. You might have mentioned him already. You might have.
Well, right now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I've got one guy before me in 190 seconds. I may have to be taking my time thinking about this because
there's no rush. No rush.
Well, there is a certain time limit here.
Steven went. Hey, you got plenty. Steven went.
Wow, this is tough. I'm really having a. All right, Cooper just went. I tell you what, I'm having a little trouble with this pick here.
And there are a couple ways you can go.
Yeah. Wow, am I having trouble with this pick?
No, is there any? So we have 17 receivers and 18 running.
Yeah, pretty equal, right? Well, it's 13 and 17.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So is there any player in either of those 2 positions that you have ranked higher than that? Like, is there, maybe you have a running back ranked 12 ahead of some of these guys that have already gone?
Not by much, really. Not by much.
Or Cooper, maybe you have a receiver, a couple pick, 15th, 14th ahead of some of the guys that have already gone. So that's something I tend to do. If I do have someone ranked ahead, I'm okay with taking them.
Yeah, I've got a problem right
because
here. What do I have left? I got 26 seconds, and I don't know what I'm going to do. That's 26 really...
seconds. Well, you think about it, and I can several ways you can go here, of course. But for the listeners,
I'm going to do something crazy here. I'm going to take McCoy.
I think I know what you're going to do.
Yeah, what?
Okay. Well, that's that's interesting, and that's what I mean. Maybe you have McCoy ahead of some of these running backs who have already gone.
Well, I've got 2 or 3 running backs I can take, and around the loop, I bet one of them's there. I probably should have taken a wide receiver, but I got some guys, and there's more wide receivers. So I could have taken one of the 3 or 4 wide receivers, which includes your favorite Allen Robinson character. But I'm still worried about his injury. I'm worried about his injury from cut recovery, and Trubisky hasn't showed me if he can really get the ball to this guy. So I'm worried about that.
And I actually thought you would go Joe Mixon there.
I still don't feel good about him.
You mentioned him.
Yeah,
I mentioned him.
I know a lot of people like him, and I know his talent's good. I haven't seen it, and I'm just so negative last year. I think they're a better team this year, Cincinnati Bengals, but I just don't feel it. I just don't feel it, and maybe that's a foolish thing. McCoy's a complete risk, but if he can just keep that body together and not get suspended, he could be very valuable with the late 3rd round pick.
because he should get the volume, assuming he's on the field.
Yep.
He's by
he
far
already tweaked his groin muscle, which is excitingly scary.
I'm just concerned about several things with him. Offensive line being one of them. Just the uncertainty at the quarterback position. You mentioned the off the field issues. But if he does play, he is going to be a volume back. And
all right, Kenyon Drake was another guy I was looking at. I'm just kind of waiting to see what comes back. I probably should take receiver with my next pick, but we'll see what comes back to me in 7 or 6 more picks. What is it? 5 more picks.
That team Chandler. Is it Chandler? I thought it was Chandler. They're on the clock, and they have Melvin Gordon and Keenan Allen already, so he has 1-1.
And he just took Howard.
Okay.
And I guess you're on the clock, whether you know it or not.
Yep. And I'm going with Joe Mixon, and I am going to have to think about this next pick. Well,
wasn't it nice of me to let you have Mixon? Just kidding.
It was really nice of you.
Well, I didn't do it because of that reason. I just, I really probably should have taken a receiver and then take a running back on this next pick, but I didn't do that. You got a whole minute, so take your time.
Yeah, so I'm just debating on. I know the 2 players I'm in between. I'm just debating on what route I want to take, and then kind of. So what I like to do here is get an idea for. It's obviously 20 plus picks away, but get an idea for how the draft can go moving forward with the roster construction from the other team. So I said I was going to go balanced, so I'm going to stick to my plan here. I don't want to get out of line just yet. So I'm going to take Allen Robinson here.
Who? Just kidding.
I'm gonna go ahead and take Allen Robinson.
Now that means you have 2 players out of 4 that are coming back from injury.
Yes. And 1 injury-prone player. Actually, 1 very injury-prone player, and that's Odell Beckham. But yeah, I mean, it's part of it. It's part of the game. It's part of fantasy, and sometimes you just got to take what the draft gives you.
Well, certainly you have to adapt where you're at positional in the draft and where you are, what people you're playing with.
Yeah.
And this is a money league. It's a low-level money league, but it's still a money league.
Yeah. And I was between, Robinson and Derrick Henry. I really do like Derrick Henry a ton. I don't think Derrick Henry will fall back to me in the next round. But there are some other running backs still available that I feel can, produce very good numbers, whereas I feel there could be a big drop off the receiver position coming shortly.
All right. No. Well, I've got a receiver on my hot list right now. I'm not sure if I should say his name because that hasn't worked for me so far.
I would not say his name just yet.
All right, Collins went. That's a good pick.
That is a good pick.
I feel like go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have him on my board. I have him on my board. I think Collins is better suited for someone with maybe the pick like where you're at, or maybe 7th, 6th pick, because you can get him in that middle of the 4th round.
Gotcha. I took Smith-Schuster. He's a wide receiver too, but he's a wide receiver too on a team where Antonio Brown's going to be covered a lot, double coverage, and had a great rookie season. So hopefully he'll do just a little more than he did last year, and he'll be a valuable pick.
Absolutely. A ton of upside with the kid. And he just looked really, really good last season. So there's nothing to be concerned about there. And he did it in the wide receiver 2 role where he's at this year. So don't see any difference.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm really not so sure if that's the sequence I should have taken with McCoy Schuster, but that's what I did.
That's fine. I mean, you there's still plenty of options there to maybe fill in that void for McCoy. There's still plenty of running backs.
It's not a void. He's a starter. In your mind, it's a void. In my mind, he's a great running back.
You're absolutely
Royce
right.
Freeman. There was the other wild card I was thinking of was Royce Freeman, and I probably really knew he was gone. And the reason why I was going to take Freeman instead of McCoy, but I just don't want to deal with a rookie. We're going to find out how stupid that was. Well, those are tough choices. That's basically what I was thinking. I could take Freeman in the maybe what I could, I don't know if I could have waited to the fourth. He went after Schuster, so he was going to go pretty quick here. And I just went with the veteran McCoy. Hogan goes.
Yeah, you went with what you know has been productive in the past versus an unknown at the end of the day. We can project so much, and you can predict so much, but we just haven't seen Freeman do that at this high level. That's a good pick in my opinion there with Chris Hogan. He was very productive. He has been very productive when healthy with Tom Brady. Big red zone guy, big play guy. Julian Edelman's going to miss, a couple games at the beginning of the season. So Hogan should be the beneficiary there and see a ton of targets. I do think he's going to have a big season. Even when Edelman returns, I do expect Hogan to be productive and consistent.
There's your running back, Henry.
There he goes. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to make it to me. It was just a matter at that point of there's still several other running backs that I'm okay with.
And Henry's a really healthy running back, isn't he?
He is.
So you don't want that guy then anyway. It wouldn't fit on your team.
It does not. It does not make any sense. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, don't be surprised if I take like a Deshaun Watson or Carson Wentz. I just kind of continue this this tradition I'm doing right now.
Hey, quarterback goes.
And there it is. Whoa, wait, it is Tom Brady. It's not Aaron Rodgers. That is very surprising to me.
Yep.
That is very surprising to me.
Actually, let's look at this guy's second pick. He took Gronkowski, so obviously he likes the New England Patriots.
I see there's some correlation there.
Yeah, it appears that to me, yeah.
And look what he did. He also got David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald.
No, that's interesting. Double up on teams.
Yeah.
Tate finally went. Yes, this is a lot slower. Get time to think.
Yeah. There's plenty of time. And this is where I think, the receiver starts thinning out a little bit as far as there's still plenty of options, but, as far as consistent production or what we've seen consistent production in the past, and that's why I went with Allen Robinson instead of a running back, because I think now the tier of running backs are pretty close, and I think there is that drop-off of receiver coming soon, actually. So I did want to lock up that number 2 receiver, and that was my thought process there. And Lamar Miller went before Tom Brady. I think that's a very good pick. He went right after Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he's one of those non-sexy picks.
Correct, and he's just productive. You think that he's going to get fed there in Houston, and if we're expecting big things out of this offense, you have to expect some decent things out of Miller.
Well, that rookie from last year, gosh, I just forgot his name.
Deontay Foreman.
Yeah. People think, he's going to take over, but he's still not off the pup. He's coming back from a major surgery and injury. He's not going to run in there and take that job over in the beginning of the season here. So it's Miller's job.
No. Exactly, and I think that's what's being overlooked here. And Miller can easily, if Miller's rolling and this offense is rolling,
they're going to be fun to watch this year. I hope everybody stays healthy.
Oh yeah. And then we're just going to see Lamar Miller in that 3-down role, like we've seen him in the past, and he's going relatively late when you think of it like that,
Yeah, because it's just he's not a sexy guy. He doesn't really get a ton of yardage after contact, but they feed him the ball and he's productive. So,
yeah. Besides Miller, it's Alfred Blue. So there's nothing.
It's a good point. Until Freeman actually can come back and get in game shape. Those are the two guys.
Absolutely.
Third tight end is gone. Ertz, bottom of the fourth. Let's see. What is going to run now? I've got 22 receivers and 21 running backs gone. Let's see what happens. Mark Ingram goes.
Oh. Yeah. And that, that's interesting to me now, how he is going to miss 4 games, and he's still being drafted pretty high. I'm indifferent about that. I'm not too excited about taking him, here, because I still think there's plenty of better value. Oh, how do you feel about Mark Ingram? Because I know there's a lot of people in the industry that they actually don't mind it. They don't mind this pick here.
Yeah, I mean, if you can plan on a guy, maybe you take Barber in the 10th or 11th round, who's probably going to be playing the first 4 games at least for Tampa Bay, and you got a guy that you can fill in for an Ingram for those first 4 games. If you can plan a strategy out like, you can't do a whole lot of that, but it is a deep roster here. We have 18 players in this each lineup, so you can think of it that way. Last year, he was a top 5 running back last year. So you're going to have this guy from week 5 to week 16. And unless Kamara really, demands more time, Ingram's going to, be very productive after that point. So I just stay away from him for some reason, but I can understand why people are doing it. Josh Gordon finally went. Should I say finally? I'm not sure if that's the right word.
And then Greg Olsen right behind him. And yeah, the reason why I asked it, because it stood out to me more so with Assassin here, because he took Ingram as his number 2 running back.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how he follows up with that. He's going to need something for the first 4 weeks. We'll see if he's got a strategy.
It's just about planning. Exactly. It's just about making sure you plan when you take these, these picks and you make these choices. Is make sure you have a plan throughout the draft.
I agree. Just went. Cooks finally. Okay, yeah.
You'll see my plan start unfolding soon.
Well, your phase 2 is coming up, huh?
Phase 2 is very, very close. Very close.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do. There's a tier at tight end, in my opinion. There's no reason to take a quarterback yet. So it's running back, receiver on my next 2 picks, or 2 or 1 or 1 or whatever. I'm not saying I'm going to take 2 receivers, or 2 running backs. Some mixture there. Hey, Dion Lewis. Wow.
Dion Lewis, huh? Another one that's been drafted pretty high.
Yeah, I think a lot of people still believe he's going to get a lot of catches in that scheme.
I think he'll get catches. I think he'll definitely, be productive. But I don't know if he's going to be as efficient as he was in New England. It's tough to say because it's, a lot of times we see players come out of that system and really not do much. So it's just, I do think he's a talented running back. I just don't know if he's, product of the system or not just yet. We're going to find out though. And I don't have any shares of him just yet. And that might be a mistake on mine. But right now, I have not drafted him in any of my leagues.
Well, is Mariota going to get the ball to him enough? His quarterback has got to show there.
Thing is that I think it all depends on the game script. I think they play with a lead. I don't think Lewis will see much of the field. If they're playing from behind, I do think he will.
And there goes Davis.
Their defense pans out.
So there goes Corey Davis right in the middle of the 5th round, where he usually goes.
Well, that was part of the plan. I was going to start unfolding.
Unfortunately, you didn't have the 6th pick in the 5th round.
And that and that's a big thing, and that really is a big thing. And that's where sometimes you just going to have to take a player a round and a half, 2 rounds earlier if you really want him, because he's consistently going in that range. And if you don't take him, if I took a shot, I took a chance of letting him skip by in that 4th round, but it's just way too early 4th, to the first pick in the 4th round to take him, I think so. but I had to do it if I wanted him. And that's another player I had on my board as well, Diehards.
And yeah, exactly. And another problem that you're dealing with is you're way out at the end. You got 22 picks between your picks. That's a lot of picks to have to try and hope people last. You can't have them all, though.
Correct.
Well, this guy's got 2 running backs and 2 receivers. I wonder where he's going. I say he goes receiver.
And there's still a good tight end out there. You know, that's probably the last of the tier of tight ends here before there's a drop off. So it depends. You know, he might want that tight end. I do think he's probably going to go receiver or running back, like you mentioned. But
he went Emmanuel Sanders, which is a good pick. He's played well here in preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And I just took my buddy Will Fuller, Mr. Hamstring.
There you go.
I have 2 number 2 running receivers out of my 3 receivers, but they're on high power offenses. and I have 2 on the same team, which isn't necessarily smart, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to let that ride. Jimmy Graham goes, tight end, Green Bay, and then Rex Burkhead goes, and it's your pick.
Oh, and I am on the clock. Here we go.
Wow, I got to decide what I'm going to do the next pick here.
Let me see here. All right. So this is PPR.
This is PPR.
So I'm going to go with... Well, I already know who I'm going to go here, so let me start looking at my next pick to plan accordingly.
Use some of that 30 seconds. That's a smart draft strategy there. Management, I guess it's called.
Yeah, you know, when there's several players in that same tier and same range. All right, so I'm going to take Cooper Kupp. I can return for PPR.
That sounds good.
Kind of buy myself a floor there. I do need that. When you look at my roster construction so far, floor makes a lot of sense there. And then now, all right, here we go. Hey, where is it? All right, so so we talked about taking a player you like that likely won't be back, and this is what I'm going to do here. It's really early here. But in PPR format, yeah,
you better pick him.
I locked it in.
Oh, okay.
I got him.
Just delayed. Oh, Duke Johnson, cool.
So he was someone that there's 2 running backs I have ahead of him right now in my rankings, but I really wanted Duke Johnson here, considering the way I've built my roster so far. And I know he won't be there, you know, in my next pick. Very
probably not. He's another forgotten guy who last year, I think he was the 11th ranked running back last year, or performing running back last year in PPR. The 11th, and you got him with the 26th running back. Now, why people are letting him go, they just don't believe it. But every year he does it again, and then the next year we just don't believe it. So excellent pick.
And he, you know, he's my 25th ranked running back. So I got him right where I have him. And again, like I said, I have a couple of, you know, running backs. Shab Penny being one of them, but he's dealing with injury, and I already got a couple of, like you said, injured, you know, injury prone guys or guys coming. But those are things you have to consider. So that's where I kind of I'm going to limit my risk. Maybe I do project Penny for a better season, but I also got to consider how I'm building my roster. I can't just have, of my top 6 pick, 5 players either coming off of injury or already dealing with injury. So I got to make adjustments there.
All right, let's see what happens here. Looks like this guy, Alshon Jeffrey finally went. He's concerning because he hasn't got back yet, but he's obviously got great talent. And it's 6th round. That's not a horrible thing.
It is not. It is not. And, wow, there's a receiver out there still that.
There's 2 or 3 of them. You got Marvin Jones.
Yeah, Marvin Jones is out there, right?
You got Goodwin and you got Crowder, and you got those 3 guys, and I'm probably not going to take any one of them. Oh, the guy just took the guy I was taking. I was going to take Lynch. I was going to take Lynch.
That was another running back that I was strongly considering.
Oh, that hurt. That really hurt.
Yeah, and that's a really good pick,
Yeah, that hurt me. I was hoping he'd slide into my spot there. Well, it's not a horrible thing. And the next guy I have Crabtree and Jones. I don't really like Crabtree, even though I've got him rated that high. He may have gone. Who knows? I don't think he did.
No, he hasn't gone.
All right, I got to think for a minute.
Yeah, right now, so you have 3 receivers and 2 running backs here. Mm-hmm. You can go in, any direction really. I believe this format is 2 running backs, 3 receivers, and a flex. And also a tight end.
So I'm going to go Marvin Jones. I don't really like him that much, but he's a solid pick, and he's right there. I have my 24th ranked running back, wide receiver. I kind of wanted Lynch. Look at the guy there, Mr. White. 4 running backs and 1 wide receiver and a tight end. But he can just take receivers now for a while, and there is more receivers than there are running backs. So.
Yeah, exactly. And he's probably gonna start 3 running backs. I think that's pretty obvious considering what he's done so far.
Yep.
And there you go. Michael Crabtree just went right after you. I know those were the 2 you were in between.
Yeah. And, the problem with Crabtree, you're dealing with a problem with the quarterback situation, and I'm just worried that he's not going to get as many targets as perhaps Jones is going to get in Detroit. So that's why I went with Jones. And there goes Hyde. He's moved up the rankings after a couple of good preseason games, and the fact that it looks like he's the guy over Chubb.
Yep. He's been having a really, really good preseason here. I think it's going to be a committee, but I do think Hyde will likely see the majority of the carries here for them.
Yeah, that's the theory now. He's been all over the place. It's still the Cleveland offense, which worries me.
That's what's the concerning part there. It is the Cleveland offense, sir. Although I did take Duke Johnson, right?
Yeah,
I think Duke's role is a little bit more clear than Hyde's and Chubb's.
I agree. I agree. I think it's still what it was.
In the passing game.
And it's not that he had a great quarterback throwing to him last year and still ended up 11th rated running back in PPR. The Devil Dogs is on the clock.
It's an interesting name.
Yes. Team names are a blast. There's the guy I was hoping would make it back to me, Chris Thompson. Maybe that's what
we're seeing another running back run here, and that's interesting considering, some of the players on it.
I was wondering, Chris Thompson's a hard guy to figure ADP, but I really didn't feel comfortable taking him. I was hoping he'd come back around, and he did not. And that's what happens in drafts. You got to regroup.
Well, and that's why, that's why I took Duke, and then we talked about that a little bit. And we've said this, I think, time in and time out in these shows, where you really like someone, kind of toss that ADP, out for a minute and get him. Because if you're towards the end of the draft or at the beginning of the draft, however you want to look at it, you got 22, 23 picks, before you choose again. And there's a good chance that you won't be getting that player that you really want. So,
and I didn't really want Chris Thompson. I want him, but I'm worried about coming back from a broken leg. So I kind of was hoping he could fall a little bit because I really think he's going to be a great second half player. And Washington's got some problems at running back. I don't think Adrian Peterson's going to be playing much in the second half of the season. Chris Thompson's going to be, and I just decided I didn't want to spend a 5th round pick or 6th round pick on him, hoping he'd be there in the 7th or 8th, and he wasn't. I'm not that upset about it.
I do think that's an expensive, that's an expensive price tag, in for Thompson. I do agree. I would have taken him, but
without the injury, it would have been a great pick because he really performed last year.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit concerned about Adrian Peterson now. On the roster here, and right after him, James White went. It's very interesting to me. He's been jumping up draft boards.
Well, he's been doing a whole lot of playing in preseason, and I think that's the effect. There's just too many running backs for me.
Targeting.
Were you? Oh, good one in Crowder now. Yeah.
I was targeting him in the late rounds before, and now it's just a very expensive price tag. And as much as I like James White, I just can't pay that price right now, especially for a New England running back.
All right, where's my guys? I got to get these guys queued up. So Goodwin for San Francisco and Crowder for Washington. Those are nice picks. I was considering those when I took Jones, but I decided to go for Jones.
Now there is one player I really, really hope lands to me. I don't think he will, but I'm hoping he does.
Well, hopefully I'll spoil your day. Jeez, this is going to be tough. I don't like this.
There's still a couple ways you can go here. When you look at your roster build, then that's why I like taking this approach of just taking running backs and receivers early on. We're in the 6th round. At the end of the 6th round, I have 3 running backs, 3 receivers. You have 4 receivers, 2 running backs. So you can still go pretty much in any direction.
I've got a handful.
Forced to draft any.
No,
you're not forced to draft any position right now. You mentioned earlier Team White. At this point, he has to kind of start taking receivers. Now,
Sony Mitchell, however you pronounce it, for New England, he just went.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to mention when James White was drafted. Mitchell returned, today I think to practice. So if he's ready to go, there was a lot of hype on him earlier.
He's a super talented guy. Again, you got the problem with New England. Second half of the season, this guy could be pretty productive.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just the unknown, and I think didn't Rex Burkhead already go here?
Yep, he went late round 5, 11th pick in the 5th round.
Yeah, so there you go. So pretty much 3 New England running backs in the first 6 rounds. It goes to show you there's just a lot of uncertainty and unknown there, and you're just going to take the upside. You're going to take
there is an upside. Got some upside there.
So we'll see. And Emmanuel Sanders went. I didn't have him off my board yet.
Well, yeah, I've got an interesting thing. I'm starting to look a little thin at running back, especially since you don't think McCoy is a running back.
Not that I don't think he is a running back.
I'm just kidding.
No, I would really, and you see, but that's a really good pick there. Rashad Penny, he's dealing with an injury, but I think come October he's going to be very involved in this offense.
Yeah, that's.
Don't think he was going to make it to me, but I had him on my short list.
So right now is an interesting point. I particularly like Chris Carson right now, even though he just bumped up Penny. And here's these really unsexy running backs. Chris Carson for Seattle, who's starting allegedly right now. Peyton Barber, who's starting for Tampa Bay. And Tyreek Cohen, who just went. So I don't have to worry about Tyreek Cohen. Well, I got some I tell you what.
You got Kerryon Johnson from Detroit, who's also been,
Yeah, there's some guys here. I'm a little worried that Blount's going to steal a lot of the thunder there, at least the first half of the season. There's a lot of running backs right now that I'm shaking my head at, or that I'm not so sure about. Where's the guy I was just looking for, and I forgot who it was. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Oh, another quarterback. This quarterback's going really slowly. There could be an explosion soon. They just took your quarterback, by the way.
I did see that. They took Carson there. Right after they took, right after Cam Newton. Sorry. Cam Newton went, and I'm sorry, I was reading out the name as they drafted. So Carson went right after Cam Newton. So there goes the running back. And, this is something I don't think you could have predicted. So you went Marvin Jones in the 6th, and kind of sometimes how things just happen. You went Marvin Jones in the 6th round. You probably had some of these guys in your list, hoping they land to you in that next round. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 running backs since your last pick have gone, which to me is a little bit surprising. I thought you would see a little bit more quarterbacks go, some, receivers.
Yep. Well, I'm probably in a position to take a running back with this next pick, and I do have Isaiah Crowell's an interesting guy. Like you said, Kerryon Johnson and Peyton Barber are guys to be consider, and I got to consider those. Edelman finally went.
Edelman, and I like that pick. I think once he returns, he's just going to just pick up where he has left off. When he was doing his thing with Tom Brady, and I do think that that's going to happen here. He's going to be a PPR monster, and having him on, when you're building your roster like Devil Dogs has done, where he has 3 receivers and 3 running backs, he has a very good chance, to just stash Julian Edelman. And once he returns from suspension, just lock him into the flex position and, not even think twice about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, Cobb is gone for Green Bay.
I like that pick. I think, I think he and Rodgers have good chemistry. They've played together already, for many years now. And he's been efficient in this offense. He's dealt with injuries, and he's dealt with having Rodgers out with injuries. A lot of things that that are fixed this year, and I think that Cobb could have a bounce back season. I'm not projecting a huge season by any means, but I think this is a good price to pay from 7th round, someone that you can plug in your flex. And
all right, one pick before me. Yeah, the darling sleeper pick for everybody who is a good pick. It's definitely a good pick.
Yes.
Okay, Jamal Williams just went. And it's my pick. Now, I think I'm going to take a running back here. I've got like 3 on the list that we talked about. I'm kind of going to go non-sexy here, and I'm going to take Isaiah Crowell because he's going to play a lot this year, and he does catch the ball. He caught like 30-plus receptions, and even though Powell played well this week, I'm going to take Crowell and hope it works out. I actually have 2 running backs on my list that are before him, but I probably should modify my list. Rankings, that is.
And sometimes that's while you're drafting, it's kind of the best way to do it because you have the decision at hand and you go with that decision. Now it can be based on your roster construction, it can be based on the the league format, but I mean you have probably 3-4 running backs in that same range, in that same tier, I guess you can say. And maybe you could just take 2 of them. Maybe you're taking the guy that's a little bit more consistent, or the one that you're expecting to have the majority of the carries, and then that next pick you can get the sexier name, the higher upside. Yeah. And then just take a balanced approach like that.
We're going to see.
I mean, I
Shepard,
have
your buddy
back.
just went. Shepard just went.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't have him rated as high. Maybe I ought to reconsider that. So you're on deck here.
I am on deck.
And it's a double decker.
It is. It is.
So let's see. Oh, by golly. That was Team White, who only had one receiver at this point. Now he's got two.
See, I'm going. Unless this gentleman takes him.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm not going to say it. I don't think he. Oh, you know what? He's on auto pick, I believe. So.
Is he really?
On my short. Kerryon Johnson was on my short list. And it looks like he's the next guy. Next guy on ADP there.
Unless he put a list in, we'll see what happens. All right.
And let me see how many running backs. All right, so we're gonna have to wait.
So he took Kyle Rudolph.
Okay.
So he must not be on auto pick. It may just be a faulty.
No, I don't think so.
Sometimes the app shows them as red when it's not true. Go ahead.
You know, this is the point in the draft where you got to think some of these things too. So Evan Ingram is one of the highest players on my board, but I already have Odell Beckham. And I really don't feel comfortable starting both of them on a weekly basis because I do feel that, you know, it's going to be tough to get consistent production consistently every week from both of them. I do think they're both capable of big games in the same week. I just don't see it happening, you know, regularly. So I'm going to skip out on him here, and I'm going to take another receiver. I'm going to take another receiver here. There is some risk here because some of the off-the-field issues, but I'm okay with it. I do think there's plenty of upside, and that's Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, it's a good pick. It's definitely time for him to be taken.
Yeah, there is some concern, obviously, with the off-the-field stuff, but it's at this point, it's worth it for me. You know, I have him as my number 35 receiver in my rankings right now, and I took him as the 38th receiver. So that's good for me. And then the next guy is someone I'm pretty high on. It's a running back. You did not mention him. I've drafted him often, so pretty much know where I'm going here, I think, and that's Ty Montgomery.
Oh yeah, I didn't want you to take him. I like him.
But again, this is another pick where if I don't take him now, I don't get him at all.
Probably so. It's a long way back, bottom of the ninth. Yeah, those are two very solid picks there in the 7th and 8th round.
Yeah. So I'm balancing out my team here. This is what I like to do in these kind of formats. Just continue drafting these two positions, which I think are the toughest to replace off of waivers with consistent production. There is always going to be that running back, and there's always going to be that receiver. But finding a quarterback, I think, is easier, and finding, you know, some type of production from a tight end is not that much difficult either. I like streaming tight ends. It's something I do because I don't draft them early. So kind of my thinking, you know, my thought process here with these picks.
Well, you know, right now there's only 3 quarterbacks gone. So even if there's a big run right now and 6 quarterbacks go, we still have the 10th, 11th, and 12th quarterback. And a lot of those guys have upside to be top 8 quarterbacks. So really, we're not giving up on quarterback at all. The flow of the drafts right now is don't have to take a quarterback yet.
No,
it may change real quickly, but right now it's going to happen pretty quick here. 8, 9, 10, we're going to see a bunch of quarterbacks, but no need to take one now unless you're totally in love with somebody. As a matter of fact, ironically, Deshaun Watson has not been taken, and he usually goes as first or second quarterback lately. Defense goes in the 8th round.
There you go. It was only a matter of time.
Well, I don't know, man. That's awful early, but okay.
And this is coming from, I mean,
this is a non-best ball scenario, so a lot of times we'll only take one defense and one kicker after 18 rounds.
And they would be chosen in the 17th and 18th round for me.
A lot of it, yeah. Sometimes I'll go around it too early if I really like a Turner, who and it's the 15th or 16th round, and I'm kind of flipping coins on other players. Sometimes I'll pop them a round or two early, but I certainly don't take them in 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah. Now, I know Evan Ingram is dealing with a concussion, but I don't think I've seen him slide this far down just yet. We're talking about the 8th round, and there's already 6 tight ends taken, and he is not one of them.
Yep.
That's surprising
right there
to
on
me.
the bubble. Well, I'll take him if you want me to.
No, if he's still there in a couple rounds, I'm not going to lie to you. I'll throw that whole having 2 Giants on my roster out the window. Because at that point,
Another guy that's interesting is Sammy Watkins is ranked in most rankings much. He should have been taken by now when you look at the typical drafts. So people are definitely not really excited about him.
Yeah, it's just, I like
Stills
him
just
so
went.
much more in best ball.
So Stills
That's
just went, and I don't have him rated this high. Here's a guy that I'm really surprised is still here. Actually, his ADP is around round 8, which usually take him around 7, but I waited and I got him anyway. Jordy Nelson. So what am I at now? What? Pardon?
I thought you were going to take Peyton Barber there.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to wait. If he falls, that's fine. I like Barber, but as you pointed out, maybe second half he's not going to see as much because they're going to get the rookie going. So, I'm just going to. I've got a couple other running backs I can take later. We'll see.
And I know
so I let Barber go. Barber should be gone. By the time my next pick happens, Barber should be gone. And here goes the quarterback run, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's Russell Wilson. Just went there.
And Deshaun Watson still has not been taken. What if Deshaun Watson made it back to me in the 9th, bottom of the 9th? Would I take him?
That would be...
Is that good value or?
I think it's fine value. I think it's fine value.
It's not my plan. My plan is to get about the 10th and the 12th quarterbacks.
And that's what I'm doing.
In my rankings.
I've slid. I've taken Cam Newton a couple drafts like you've seen in the 7th, 8th round.
And those are best ball drafts, though.
Correct. It's a different type of draft. There's no waivers, and I have him. He's my number 2 quarterback on my rankings. I have him ahead of Tom Brady, right behind Aaron Rodgers. So it's when I have the number 2
my
player,
tight end I wanted.
Who was that?
Burton. Trey Burton, Chicago.
And that you see that's very surprising to me. All these tight ends going ahead of Ingram. I mean, am I missing something?
Yeah, you got Walker, you got Ingram.
Being concussed.
Yep. I think they just want to give you a third New York Giants. Except, wait, you didn't take that other
job. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Well, you're right. You're not far off. It's unless you take him, it's inevitable.
No, he'll go. I say he goes before my pick. Not that I'm going to take him. I say he goes before my pick.
Oh, you're saying Ingram?
Ingram will go before my pick.
I thought you meant the third that, my other guy that I usually take.
Oh, yeah. You got a couple rounds on him.
Yeah. Oh, he's popping up in my overall rankings already.
Of course he is. I saw him do a commercial. It was a pretty funny commercial. I don't know if you get fantasy points for that, though.
I wish I did. Because he and his brother, they're on their fair share of commercials, huh?
Yeah. All right, Iron Horse. This quarterback run's going to happen right here.
I think it's in this round, the next 2 rounds. I think you'll see a run. I really do. And Aaron Jones
wins, just yeah. The unpopular third wheel of the Green Bay Packer running backs.
Mm-hmm. And he's out the first. Is it 2 games? Yeah, right.
I think it is too. Yeah. K'Ron Johnson. Did I not mark him off, or is he still not gone yet?
He is still not gone.
He's still not gone. You know, Blunt did some nice play in the last game and did a lot of goal line carries, and I think perhaps people are a little worried that maybe he's going to take a lot of value off of Mr. Johnson.
I think that's the case. I really do. That was my thought all along.
Yeah,
Blunt would be, involved in the red zone. We've seen him do it in the past. A very efficient running back in the red zone. So
he's a guy you just kind of forget about. He's just clunky and he's non-sexy, and you just kind of forget about him. And maybe we shouldn't.
No, I don't think we should. I don't think we should. I think there's going to be a committee here in Detroit.
Definitely a concern.
There you go. Drew Brees just
went. There, I told you. Here we go. Deshaun Watson still available.
Yeah, he is.
Well, only if you notice on the thing, I don't know if you're looking at it, we've got, well, let's see. We still have 1, 2, 1. My dyslexia is getting me. 3 people have not taken a quarterback between now and my next pick. So if 3 people take quarterbacks, I can look at my next quarterback on my list, and it's not bad. Oh, now I'm starting to crave Deshaun Watson. I'm sitting here. I never think about Deshaun because people take him too early. Funchess and Peterson go. Now I'm starting to say, you know what? He's starting to look awfully good right now.
Well, one of those teams is very balanced and is also missing a tight end. So wouldn't be surprised if they took a tight end before taking the quarterback.
Gotcha.
Then the other team does need a quarterback, and he's the one that just took Trey Burton.
Well, Assassins, it would be, he's got 2 picks here in 8-9. He probably is, unless he's got a late strategy for QB, he's probably very tempted to take a quarterback at this point. He's only got 2 receivers, though. But he could go quarterback
receiver. Well, that's
receiver.
what I was going to point out. He can. But I was going to point that out. He does have 2 receivers, one of them being Baldwin, which there's some, uncertainty as far as his availability, for week 1, I think. So
finally,
I do. Yeah.
Sammy
I do think
Watkins
he's going to be
goes.
fine.
Yep. I agree with you on that one. I'm very interested. I'm very on pins and needles right now to see what quarterback situation goes here. I really think that another two quarterbacks are going to go in the next couple before my pick in the 9th pick here in the 9th round. And this is what I do in drafts. I start to hope. It's like, oh my God, this guy's available. You lose all of your mind. You stop thinking. You don't do your draft analysis as the draft continues. You're just staring at this guy going, oh my gosh.
And that happens. That will happen.
Well, these guys like taking the 90 seconds of their 90 seconds. All these best ball leagues we've been in, and, it's bang, bang, bang. Come on, guys, let's go. I got to eat dinner.
Yes,
Man, these guys are slow.
And, that's why I usually eat dinner before these. We're different time zones, but it's easier for me to do so. But,
come on, Assassins. What are you doing, buddy?
Oh, there he went.
There's Deshaun. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. Excellent pick. And we think he's going to take
that one.
Yeah, he was in good shape, though, because coming after Breeze, the next 3 guys for him had quarterbacks, so he knew he was going to get his pick of the litter. Now he'll probably take that receiver. I hope he doesn't take his whole 90 seconds on it.
Yeah, I do think he will be taking the receiver here. It just makes too much sense.
Mm-hmm. Unless somebody's standing out like a sore thumb right now.
Yeah.
So I got to start planning this quarterback. I'm a little worried about Wentz. In fact, he's still not cleared to play.
I don't know if we're going to see him week 1.
Yeah. I'm really not sure what to do. Risk. You don't want to take that risk?
No, I mean, at this point, I think you can take the risk because of the rounds we're in already, and then what's available, and what when you compare him to some of the other positions available, he's clearly a better player. Clearly has more upside. With him, the only thing is you're going to have to draft a second quarterback maybe a little earlier than you would have wanted to, because you just don't know if you're going to have Wentz week 1.
Well, he did not take a wide receiver.
Yeah, I saw that. That's very surprising.
Marlon Mack.
He took Marlon Mack. Wow. That is very surprising.
And he's taken all 90 seconds. Maybe he made a list up and he went and had a beer at the bar and he's going to come back. Finally, K'Ron Johnson goes way late.
Yeah. And that's very interesting to me because Mack has been dealing with a hamstring injury, and it's not, he's not clear to start the season for sure. It's not, it's not clear that he's going to start. I think he'll be fine as well, but it's just, that to me, when you have to start three receivers and you're in round 9 and you have, 5 running backs and only 2 receivers, I think that's maybe he doesn't go to settings, and that's why
he better have a rabbit he's pulling out of his hat that he thinks is going to really come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and maybe and this is why I usually say it's your first step in any fantasy football league that you're doing is know the format, know the settings, know.
But think about it. He could start. Well, it's PPR. And, I've seen guys do the opposite where they take 2 running backs and they take 5 or 6 receivers, and then they get a pass-catching running back for their third running back. And you can start 2 running backs, through the non-bye weeks and be very productive in a PPR format. He's flip-flopped that around and only has 2 receivers. Yeah,
but in this instance, you have to start 3 receivers. It's a mandatory thing in this league.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Galladay finally went. He would have been a nice handcuff for me with Marvin Jones, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's a very good pick there.
Yeah, I can't even find him on my list here. God.
The only issue is that there's only 1 ball. So
yeah, Bob and I talked about it in our discussion just before our draft about him. His ceiling's a bit of a problem because he needs somebody to get hurt, or he needs to beat out, these seasoned veterans.
Yep, and this is where I think he's better suited for best ball because he is going to have those big games, but you're likely going to have him on your bench. And if you look at my roster construction here compared to how I approach best ball, it's a little bit different at how I'm doing it. For that reason, because you don't want to inherit too much risk in your rosters and have too many tough decisions on a week-to-week basis. I think decisions should be easier in these kind of formats. And Evan Ingram ended up going to Devil Dogs. Then right after, Kirk Cousins went. So another quarterback off the board.
Yeah. So basically, only one guy between my pick. Pardon me. And there goes the guy I was waiting for. Barber. Pardon me.
And that, I saw him dropping. I thought he was going to get to you. I really did.
Yeah, I thought he would leave before. He got pretty close. I'm not really that upset about it. If I was that upset about it, I would have taken him instead of Nelson. I've got some choices here. Pretty much I ran out of players on my list. And running back's starting to get kind of dicey. I only have 3. Pardon me for coughing here.
So I'm assuming you have decided to not take a quarterback here because Watson.
Yeah, I'm going to take a tight end. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here other than that. That was kind of an oddball pick. I'm going with the high upside Jordan Reed and the high low side Jordan Reed.
And that's a good pick.
At tight end, so taking a risk at tight end. I again, like you said, sometimes your tight ends can pop out in the season, so they are something you can pick up, hopefully. And I'm probably not going to take 2 tight ends with 18 picks, but we'll see how it flows. So I still kind of let the quarterback go. All right, so you got 2 picks before your pick. What do you think?
I'm thinking of going receiver, running back again, maybe receiver. There depends here. I'm looking at my board, seeing where I have some of these guys ranked, seeing where they're what position we're at here at the wide receiver and running back. So I have 2 guys here. Really like Tyler Lockett. I like DJ Moore quite a bit here. Kind of what I'm looking for. I'm interested in David Njoku.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I mentioned earlier, having Odell Beckham and having Ingram is not something I'm too interested in doing. But I'm not, predicting that, considering the way I have my roster built right now, Duke Johnson's going to be an every week starter unless he's playing like he was last year. So maybe taking Njoku here, a tight end who I have ranked pretty high on my board. I actually have him 5th amongst tight ends on my board.
And he's not going to last much longer.
Yeah, so it pretty much my decision is: do I take him now, or do I take someone like a George Kittle, who I also have pretty high on my rankings later. It really just depends here. I think I'm on deck, right? So Calvin really just went.
Yeah, Ridley went, and the other guy's only got 25 seconds left.
And so I'm probably more than likely going to go in Njoku here. But I will exhaust some of that clock because I do want.
Yeah. And here's an interesting point which I should have thought of when I took Reed. I didn't necessarily have to because 2 of the 3 on the turn had tight ends, and I know you like Njoku. So I could have taken somebody else there, but I didn't really have somebody to take and wait. I wanted time to think about my next pick. Matt Ryan just went, and you're on the clock. Matt Ryan went before 3 or 4 guys that are typically rated higher than him. So
I like that Matt Ryan pick, though. I had him pretty high on my board. I think if there was more clarity on Wentz, he would have gone. Wentz would have gone before Ryan, and even Cousins. All right, excuse me. Let me look here. So I've made up my mind. I am going to go Njoku here. I'm just kind of now making a decision as to what I want to do with my next pick.
And that's a luxury when you're at the end, and it's a good thing to think about. You don't want to necessarily always pick quickly. Use your time effectively, as you can all of a sudden see something you didn't see when you take that time. But don't pick before your clock runs out, especially in online leagues.
All right, so make a pick there.
Njoku it is, huh?
Yeah, and then my next pick, and it's not about handcuffing here for me. I just, I like to read what some of the beat writers have to say. I've heard some things on the radio, and Giovanni Bernard, I have him ranked, top 40 in my rankings. And so I'm taking him. I have Mixon, which is a plus. And in PPR format, I think Bernard can have a role if Mixon were to go down or anything like that happens, I think Bernard can be a productive PPR back.
Yeah, that's a
now
good
that
point.
Jeremy Hill's no longer here.
Well, I got to make some choices here. I'm really not that thrilled about any of the running backs at this point. I could take Ronald Jones and hope he's productive in the second half. And I really don't have anybody.
I took him in a best ball one of the best balls we did last week. I really wasn't too thrilled about the pick. It's just he's been trending downwards. But I do think eventually he could have a role in this offense, a solid role. And at this point, I mean, we're drafting for upside, I think. I really think we're either drafting for upside or maybe there are still some players that may be consistent. Robert Woods is still out there. He's someone that.
Yeah, he's been a forgotten guy, and I'm not going to take him this. Now, who's what do we got?
Yeah, I'm not too fond. I think there's too many mouths to feed there. I think it's the Gurley show in the Rams. It's in LA. It's the Gurley show, and I really like Cooper Kupp a ton. I drafted him pretty early in this draft that we're doing now. Just think that the chemistry between him and Goff is there, and the type of offensive scheme that they run really suits him well and fits what he does, his strengths. So
now look at the board right now. I'm on deck right now. To my left, around the long loop of 16 picks, everybody has got a quarterback except one guy. So could I wait till the next round, and is nobody going to double up yet? Is the question.
I just think that there's 5 quarterbacks probably left on board, and that's not including Eli Manning, who I'm very high on. You know that. But there's still about 4 or 5 quarterbacks that I'm very comfortable with as my starting quarterback.
Well, I'm going to take a chance on that. I'm going to take that advice and not panic. Don't panic. And
because you could still use some of the running backs available here. Or even if you want to go receiver.
I think I'm going to go with I don't. Let me look here real quick.
There's a running back
I'm going to take Wilkins.
I really like that pick. I think he has best shot.
Well, certainly if Mac, continues to have problems, get back on the field. It's a lot of backs there, but we'll see what happens. He catches the ball well too. He's not just a north and south type of guy. So we'll see if I get a quarterback back, and there's Walker that really fell with being out for a little while. Forget what's wrong with him, but preseason sometimes has these effects that aren't necessarily smart for us drafters.
Yeah, they can definitely. I think that's what happened. With Evan Ingram, I think
yes,
he dropped because of that concussion, and Walker to talk about. He's dealing with a toe injury, I believe it is. And they're expecting him to be ready to start the season,
And Godwin just went, Chris Godwin for Tampa Bay. That was a guy I was kind of hoping to last to the next round, but 10th round ADP, I really probably should have thought more. I just wanted one more running back. I felt like I needed a 4th running back instead of a Godwin. But I like that pick.
Yeah, and I think you made the right choice. I think when you look at your roster, but you could use another running back in their pick, and you could have also used a receiver. There's still several receivers in that range, that provide some upside, like Godwin does. Maybe even same upside.
You're right. There are some guys, and running backs are a little shorter, so that's why I went with Wilkins. Pardon my throat. So let's see what happens now. We've got the 12th tight end going in Doyle. So everybody has one tight end.
Yeah, that one tight end is good enough for me because these are, you pick one up on the waivers. They're in these type of formats. There's, unless I get stuck with a quarterback I'm not entirely comfortable with, I try not to draft 2 quarterbacks. I definitely try not to draft 2 tight ends. You know, I try to just draft one of each, and on a bye week I could pick one up. You know, if mine's not, you know, my quarterback or my tight end is not panning out, I think there's typically some available in free agency for the most part. And there's some two receivers have gone now. DJ Moore and Robert Woods. We talked about Woods. Moore was someone I had on my short list as well here. I was hoping he came back to me. Obviously wishful thinking. But I do like, you know, the rookie receiver there in Carolina quite a bit.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, I know what I'm looking at. Sorry. Oh, Eifert went. That's another nice risk pick. Looking for a player that's not very high on the
on your board.
Yeah.
That happens.
Not going to say his name yet because I've screwed up already enough. Let's see if he goes on the sheet. Okay, I've got him for later. Let's see what's going on now. We're coming along. Eifert. Another interesting risk. High risk, high reward, high risk. So that guy's got 2 tight ends. He's already taken 2 tight ends, and it's the 10th round. That's interesting. He's only got 3
and
running
if you so he has a veteran tight end. You know, I think coming off injury, and then he went with the high upside tight end coming off injury.
coming off injury. No, that's why he's out there late. He's a risky player.
So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he did it that way. You know, maybe he's hoping at least one of them can stay healthy. I probably wouldn't have done it considering he already has Greg Olsen. But
well, you can't start 2 tight ends in this. The flex has running back, receiver, or tight end. And there's Ronald Jones. He went pretty late.
Yeah, he's been dropping significantly. You know, I think this is where, you know, when you look at the preseason, there's going to be risers, there's going to be fallers, and this, you know, he's one of these guys that has just fallen in drafts, and it's because he's been getting outplayed by Peyton Barber. So.
Yep. Now, Mr. Assassin, who's got 2 receivers, albeit very good receivers. Is this guy going to take at least 1 receiver here in the 10th or 11th on the turn?
Wouldn't be surprised. There are several receivers here.
I say he's going to take 2 receivers. He's already got a tight end. He's already got a quarterback. Let's see what happens. Maybe he'll take a defense. Just kidding. Pardon?
I'm hoping he does not, because that means that's probably one of the guys on my short.
He took Garcon, who's been falling like a rock.
Yeah, he has been falling.
Well, Goodwin is, you know, kind of ahead of him, and
he took Cameron Meredith, and that's
okay. He took Meredith. All right. You don't like Meredith?
I like someone else on that team a bit more who's been having a really, really good preseason.
Yeah, but he's a rookie.
Yeah, but he's looking really, really good.
I can't even find Meredith on my cheat sheet. Where did Meredith go?
I had to look down there as well. I think late hundreds.
Yeah, well, anyway, Meredith is gone. Well, he did what we thought he may do, is double up on receivers. And it's not horrible, you know, assuming you think Garcon was very good in San Francisco coming back from injury. Meredith was incredible in Chicago, although, again, injuries. And that rookie who plays well, who we won't mention his name till later on when somebody picks him. There goes Hearns.
That, to me, that's it.
Oh, Eagles defense.
That's an interesting pick there because he could end up being the number 1 receiver. I know there's a lot of talk about Michael Gallup, but do think Hearns has a good shot there. He's the veteran receiver, or one of the veterans of receivers there.
All righty, am I going to get stupid, or am I going to do something smart in the next pick here?
Now, it is worth noting here that Hearns has been dealing with injuries, so there is some risk there and some concern. But if he does get healthy, he can. He can be.
Second defensive's gone off the board. Again, way earlier than I like to take defenses, but obviously a great defense. Hey, Theoretic, nice pick there.
And yeah, I think that's a very good value pick in PPR. He's someone that usually ends up on my rosters.
It probably would as a better pick than my Wilkins, but we'll see. We'll see how that works. 4 more guys before me. What am I going to do? When I get to my spot, there's Powell. That's another nice pick. I can't even find him. Come on. Well, it's probably a good idea I took a running back on that last pick because those guys, it's getting short. I got a lot to think about here because 9 quarterbacks have gone, so I could even wait after this next pick at 11, go around the loop. Most likely only 1 quarterback's going to go, which is you, maybe. I may still be able to get...
It depends on who's available. Really depends on how the draft...
Big Red is not taking a quarterback, and he's the next pick. He's on deck right now.
Yeah, well, that's where we might see Carson Wentz finally go. Because Carson Wentz is still available.
Yeah. I'm not sure how far I want to push this. I like to take 2 quarterbacks. I like to take 2 good quarterbacks. What were you about to say? I interrupted you.
No, and it just really depends on your board at the time, You already know that, there's 2 teams behind you with quarterbacks. You've drafted with me enough to know that it really will be dependent on my board. If there's a run here, wow, that surprised me quite a bit. And I'm sorry, I was in the middle of a sentence there, but Matthew Stafford just went to Big Red, and that's very surprising to me. Considering some of the quarterbacks still on the board. So I was saying, it really depends on the next 4 picks for me, because if 2 guys that are high on my board go off, then yeah, maybe I have to, settle for a quarterback here. Now, if some of these guys still slide down to me, I'm going to get these guys, and I'm going to take the chance that in the, round, 13th is where I'm going to get my quarterback. And at that point, you're going to have a shot at taking the quarterback ahead of me, and every other team besides us to at this time have a quarterback. So it's just a matter of, what you pick, and then what Team White and Team Chandler pick.
Well, I'm tempted to take a quarterback right now, but I'm just not going to. I'm going to take a receiver. I think I'm going to go with Doxson because he probably is going to be a starter, even though he's been unproductive the first 2 years of his career. Now I have 2 Washington Redskins. Let's hope that Alex Smith can throw to them.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine there. And the good thing about that is that you don't, it's not like you're going to force Doxson, or Doxson's not a starter right now. He's a bench player on your team when you look at your roster, because he's your 6th receiver, if I'm not mistaken here. So you don't have to really be too concerned about that. Now, if he pans out and he plays well, then yeah, you have a decision to make. But if he's playing well, you're going to put him in your lineup.
Yep. All right, see, Mr. White. He's definitely accumulated some receivers after not drafting many until the 7th round. Oh, Buck Allen.
It looks like I am on the clock from what I hear.
And P. Ryan just went, so he's back at running. He's back at running backs for Mr. White, and Chandler took P. Ryan, and you're on the clock.
So this is just like I said, there are a couple of receivers here that I have ranked pretty high on my board. So there's been 56 receivers taken, and And this receiver is my 45th, 46. So I am definitely going to take a receiver here. And I think I'm going to follow it up with another receiver. Wow, this is a tough decision for me.
Well, you got 10 seconds.
Oh, only 10 seconds?
And now you got 7.
So let me choose my guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you may want
Thank
to.
you for pointing it out, because I got one.
Lock it, baby.
Yeah. And then
I have 6 receivers already. I have 5 more players on the kicker or defense to take.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I have 5 receivers and 5 running backs right now. So you know what? All right, so I'm actually. Well, you know what? I'm going to get my guy.
I knew you couldn't stand it.
Oh, no, it's not who you think.
Oh, it's Wentz. Oh, with Eckler, okay.
Yeah.
And then the next guy took Carson Wentz. He's doubled up on his quarterbacks. I was wondering if that would happen. You know, Eckler is a good pick. Yeah, he looks solid, doesn't he?
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
I think he could have a significant role should Melvin Gordon struggle or get injured. We saw them, put Eckler in the games last year when Gordon was struggling. So wouldn't be surprised to see that happen again.
So we've had a double up at quarterback. We've had 11 quarterbacks gone. 10 teams have quarterbacks. 2 don't. One of them is me, and one of them is you. So I'm probably going to take a quarterback here, and I'm kind of torn between who I'm glad somebody took Wentz, so I didn't have to think about Wentz. I kind of like Goff. I don't know if he'd make it back to me. What do you think? Do you have him very highly ranked?
It's tough. It's tough. It's really, really tough to know whether you're going to get your quarterback on the way back, because as we saw, like Team Chandler, there are going to be teams taking their backup quarterback. Maybe whoever took Deshaun Watson, might have some concerns about returning from injury, might take another quarterback. You got Matthew Stafford, which I think was taken ahead of other quarterbacks I like. He might want to lock himself up backup quarterback. Even Kirk Cousins, there's some issues there with the offensive line.
Well, I'm going to take Goff because he was like the 10th quarterback last year, and I still see him rising with a pass-catching running back and all those offensive positions. So, there's other guys like Patrick Mahomes that's sexy. You got Locke who's sexy, but I'm not going to take the sexy guy. I'm going with Goff, and let's see what flips back to me. I may even seriously consider taking a quarterback with my 13th pick and getting my double up with a higher quality quarterback.
And I think that's just a fine. What you did there is fine. You mentioned Luck. You mentioned Mahomes. I think upside guys. Mariota's still there. Ben Roethlisberger's still there. So there are definitely guys or quarterbacks there that have upside and can produce some numbers. But you play the safe to the best there, and I think that's just a fine approach. There was really no need to get too cute there. And if you have Goff as a top 10, 11, even 12 quarterback on your rankings, you're getting.
He's 11 right now. I've got Roethlisberger over him, but I just like Goff.
I think there's less risk. There's less risk involved when you're taking Goff. Whereas with Rodgers, you have to be concerned about the injury, and there are several. Reed is an injury concern for you. McCoy, there's the concern. So you're minimizing here that risk. You're minimizing that of having another player with that kind of concern. Now you can always go back and take, I think, Big Ben in the next round. I think he'll still be there if you wanted to, or even in the round after. I think he'd be there.
Right. I don't know. I think he's going to go pretty quick. Maybe it's just my
John
personality, but yeah, John Brown one's got some talent.
And that talk about, what preseason and training camp does, he's just been, climbing up these boards. I think he was going undrafted a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month ago.
Yeah, he's shown some signs.
Yeah. So he's always been an interesting, receiver to me.
Yeah, hopefully he can stay healthy.
Correct.
I still worry about that team. I just don't see a lot of offensive passing production from the quarterback. So it's hard for me to take a guy, but it's the 12th round, so.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. This is quite
the running back run.
Devontae Booker and also yes.
Yeah. And that, that's kind of why I took Eckler, because I was anticipating a lot of people are just going to start taking these kind of backs.
I think Eckler's a great pick. I think the 12th pick, you're not going to have a pick for 22 more picks. Eckler's a fantastic pick. I kind of Eckler, sorry, I pronounced it wrong. I probably should have seriously looked at him instead of Doxson. But
you have Doxson's a starter on your board.
Yeah, he's about right now. Yeah, there's a lot of guys gone. I could have taken him earlier, but I knew not too many people take him. Oh, another defense, Minnesota Vikings.
I think you're going to start seeing some defenses going on in the next couple of rounds too. I think, at this point in the draft, there are people that have that approach that they like to fill out their roster, before getting to the last couple of rounds. So we might see that. We might see some kickers go.
Yeah, I think if you think Jacksonville's a very reliable defense, taking him in the 8th round is really pushing the envelope. Because that's an expensive pick in the 8th round. And Jacksonville may not perform that well with respect, because defenses have a very, there goes another, Rivers just went. Surprised luck.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, where I think if you would let Goff go, I think he would have been taken, And I really don't think there's a need for this
that's
team.
Why I went. That's why I went with Goff. He got Newton. I don't know why you need to take Rivers, but he likes a solid two players, and maybe he's looking at the rest of the players at the other positions, and he figures I can get a good receiver, running back later. He picks in 6 and 5 picks anyway.
Yeah. And there are everyone has a different approach. Everyone has a different strategy. There are players who like to fill out their roster. They like to have a backup for every position. I've seen that. I see that in home leagues that I'm in. I see that in, even in industry leagues. You'll see, 2 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks, at times 2 defenses.
A lot of the industry leagues are the high stakes leagues. They're 20 rounds, which gives you those 2 extra positions on your roster, where it's a little easier to take a second tight end. And most of them take 2 quarterbacks. 18's a little thinner.
Because in those kind of leagues, I would also assume that the waiver wire is super thin. So you want to have as much depth on your team.
That is true.
As possible.
What is that, Bria? How do you pronounce that running back? Pardon?
Matt Breida.
Breida, there you are. It's getting hot in this room. I need the air conditioning on in here. There's our friendly assassins team.
I mean, and it's the total opposite, because I literally sit right under an AC vent, and since it's everyone's sleeping now in my house, the kids are sleeping and everything, we usually have the AC pretty cold. So that's why you usually see me wearing a sweater. Today I decided not to wear a sweater because I've been wearing a sweater every show. But I will guarantee you that next show we do together, you will see me in a sweater.
Well, we're coming up on 2 hours, an hour and 59 minutes the show time, and basically an hour and 46 minutes. And there goes luck. So we're getting a double up. So, my hope is it'd be fun to take Mahomes with the next pick of mine. The chance of it is probably pretty low now. You've got two double ups. So there's, he's probably going to go pretty soon.
And that makes sense for Assassin. You know, he well, it makes sense because Andrew Luck is currently healthy. Deshaun Watson's coming off injury, but it also is concerning because he has two quarterbacks, you know, coming off of some injuries here. So
yeah, that's a concern.
I can see why he did that because Luck has a ton of upside. Luck has potential top 5, you know, upside. We've seen him do it in the past. But yeah, I guess it's just the scarcity of the position at this point in the draft and what kind of talent he's getting. I really strongly considered Luck at the first pick in that 12th round, but I just felt Eckler at that point was a little bit stronger considering my quarterback league.
Well, I like getting top quarterbacks, and I personally have kind of a level. After Roethlisberger and Mahomes, I have a level break. I really would like a quarterback above that level instead of below. And instead of Doxson, I could have taken Goff and then just come around and taken Mahomes as a fun pick or a Luck. But I just decided I was going to hope one of them would get back to me here. But, you know, we've got 7 more picks, and I think those guys are going to be gone, in my humble opinion. Yeah. I think 2 people are going to double up, and they're probably going to take those 2 guys. And we'll see whether I'm wrong. Chubb just went, finally. Oh, look at these guys draft quickly. I like it. Parker and Amendola.
There you go. Couple of Dolphins receivers.
Who? Dez Bryant?
Oh.
Yeah, maybe he's going to go to Jacksonville. I just personally think Dez Bryant's career is over. And I'm just being a little mean.
Oh, I think he'll eventually end up in a contender. I just don't know how much of fantasy impact he's going to have.
Yeah, he may help the team somewhat if he can keep his mouth shut. Because as soon as he gets a contract, he's going to, doesn't get the ball thrown to him. Is he going to be mature? But I think he's lost it. I don't think he's got it anymore. That doesn't mean he's not going to end up on a team.
He didn't look like he had it anymore in Dallas, that's for sure.
I didn't think so. I mean, he made a couple of catches in just the right situations. But
I mean, and the Browns weren't offering him much, so the Browns aren't offering you much. Your market value is not that good.
Isn't it interesting that Dez Bryant went and visited the Browns, and within 24 hours or less, Josh Gordon comes back?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty.
I'm not so sure if that was just completely random or not. Rashard Matthews, who finally came back. And I'm worried about him. He didn't really have a great year last year, and I liked him the year before for Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so heavily invested in Corey Davis that I do think Matthews is going to be a productive receiver, and I think he might be a better, football receiver for the team than a fantasy receiver this season. But I think in the 13th round, you just can't go wrong with him.
Oh, there's the guy I wanted.
There you go.
I was close, but it didn't work again. Can't have them all. Now I'm not so sure if I really want Roethlisberger. That's saying a lot, huh? I don't even like Roethlisberger. He was the 8th quarterback last year, which is not bad. Alex Smith was the... I just don't like the guy. But, that's not supposed to matter in drafts.
And he's the top quarterback on my board left, but I also have, Mariota right behind him. We're not too far behind him, I should say.
Well, I kind of really wanted Mahomes just as a fun guy, but I'm not even going to check the bye week. I'm just going to take Roethlisberger and hope the bye week works out. And I actually have Roethlisberger ranked 10th just above Goff, so I guess I should be happy that I waited on a guy who came back to me. But I just like these crazy guys like Mahomes. It's just going to be fun to watch him. And it's always, I'm not talking about trying to win per se, but it's so much fun to sit down and watch a game and have a crazy guy like Mahomes who's going to have some huge games, I hope, entertaining games, and you know you've got them on your roster. It just feels good. But that's not the case in this draft.
No.
Hey, Tucker. Ted Ginn and Tucker.
I told you. You'll see some go. So, let me see here.
All right, I got to start thinking about my next picks here. Let's see. I think you can wait on quarterback.
I am going to wait on quarterback.
That's fun. I like it. Know your plan and follow your plan.
I'm going to be sweating in the next 2 rounds, that's for sure. But there's already 3 teams, right? If I'm not mistaken, 4 teams, or 3 teams with 2 quarterbacks.
5.
4 teams, 4.
5.
Oh, 5 teams. There you go.
And that's a lot already.
It is.
You got 6 seconds, by the way.
Oh, it's not letting me do it. No. Where is it?
You got Marcus Mariota, buddy.
There you go. I did not want to do that.
Well,
it was not letting me do it. Oh,
sorry. I mean, sometimes you can't wait under 10 seconds because you're relying on the internet and all that stuff. Well, you got a quarterback. Sorry.
Yeah. So there goes my plan.
I should have told you earlier.
No, that's on me.
Hey, at least you didn't get that. Well, anyway. Des Bryant, I mean. All right, so it's your pick again.
Happened. All right, so now let's get back on board here.
All right, so I got a lot of options here. Well, I probably don't have that many options, but man, I'm not sure what I want to do here.
I have to turn off auto pick. There we go. It wasn't letting me pick, but I had to.
Oh. So yeah, you better hurry up. You're down to 6 again.
Yeah. Looks like. All right. There you go.
So you got Kirk.
Yeah.
It looks like a bunch of guys auto-picked, so it's my pick, allegedly, even though I don't see it on the board yet. Oh, I'm on deck. Never mind. I've got one way. Good. I got to think. I'm thinking of this Tywayne Taylor, who's done well in preseason, and Rashard Matthews just came back. I'm a little worried about him. Maybe that's being a little bit stupid.
No, I mean, you take that with a grain of salt. His return, I do think that, Taylor's, locked in as a third receiver here. They also have Deion Lewis, Delaney Walker, so might end up being the 5th option, come week 1 on the offense, which is the only, concern.
Unless he beats out Rashad.
Unless he does beat out Rashad, correct. But I think that would be, I don't think it would be that soon. However, in these rounds, that's the kind of upside you're looking for, because eventually he will, or he can, beat out Matthews here and have a very good, role on the offense. We've seen he's flashed some nice things on the preseason, and you kind of have to take that into consideration. So using that 14th, 15th round pick.
I think I'm going to do something kind of weird at this point. I've got 3 more skill position players other than kicker and defense. I'm going to take a crazy pick. I'm going to take James Conner right now, who could do nothing this year, but he really has shown a lot for Pittsburgh in preseason. If Bill gets hurt, if Le'Veon Bell gets hurt at all, he's gonna have high upside. All right, Los Angeles Rams just went. J.J. Nelson, who dropped the ball last
time. That's a very good pick, by the way. That's a very good pick, Emil.
Oh,
because because he can end up being a RB2. Should Bell, sit out, should Bell, get hurt, anything of that nature, Connor could really work as an every down back here for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, thank you. But who has Bell? So I don't know if that guy was going to handcuff him or not. It's the 14th round, so
I think
it's not like I could wait another round or whatever. He's looking good. He's ready to have a chance.
He is, and I'm not big on handcuffing, but when you're investing such an early round pick on someone like Bell with the situations that at hand there and the issues at hand, I think it is wise to maybe handcuff him at James Conner.
I would have been tempted if I was him, and maybe he was planning on it or not. But he picked Matt Breda in the 12th and came right around and got Parker. Maybe he should have taken Connor in one of those picks.
Correct. I think, and I really do think that's.
But you don't know. I mean, here's a situation where maybe he had him on his ready to go, but he figured, I'll get him in the 14th or 15th. Maybe he figured. I don't know. Those are those tough choices that you have to think about. Parker is an interesting guy. He's failed every time everybody thinks he's going to be a superstar. Would it have been better to back up your number one running back with a Connor who's had upside? But he did not do it. Another defense goes. Kittle goes.
Yeah, and I think at this point in the draft, you're going to see things like that. Defenses, kickers, mixed in with, someone's second tight end, and then just handcuffs. I think you'll see some handcuffs go.
So far, no more quarterbacks have gone.
No,
and there's
and
that great catch. Go ahead.
I don't think any quarterback would have gone. Maybe one or two at best. And there was
you kind of hit you hit that level where there's a handful of guys that are about the same, except for Eli Manning. He's fantastic. He's on TV shows now, commercials. That was a joke.
No, I know. I was planning on waiting around, taking him and someone else, but
hey, a second kicker, Gostkowski.
Oh, I'm surprised that wasn't the first one that came off the board. Actually.
Yep. He usually is.
Yeah, he right.
I like
most
Butler.
People.
So where am I sitting now? I still got guys I'm interested in.
Yeah, and there are still guys available, definitely. This is the point of the draft where I'm really drafting for upside.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really drafting for upside.
I have 6 receivers and 5 running backs. I don't think I'm going to take another tight end. I'm not going to take another quarterback. So I have 4 picks left. One's a tight end, one's a kicker, and one's a defense. So I have two spots left. It's going to be, running back, receiver of some mixture.
Yeah, so we're in the 14th round, so we're going to have 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 4 more picks left. And of those 4 picks, I'm going to have to take a defense and a kicker.
And LeGarrette Blount is still available.
Yeah, he is. He is.
You really should be taking
guys here I'm surprised you haven't taken Ryan Grant. You've been drafting him pretty consistently.
Yeah, he's on my list, I'll see what falls to me at this next pick. But nobody else takes him. So, unless you're going to take him, I may be able to slide a little. People forgotten about him.
No, I'm not going to take him. I mean, honestly, I have him here on my short list.
Well, we don't have to worry about it.
Wow.
So never mind. Somebody does have them on their radar. That's a good pick. Obviously, I like him because he could be starting opposite Hilton. And I was going to take him instead of Connor, but I decided I needed a little more at running back. And now I have one fewer receiver to have to worry about. God, it'd be tempting to take Blunt, but I don't know. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the next pick here. Maybe I'll take the guy you like that I've had sitting there on my list for the whole day.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, you do.
A receiver, is it?
Yep, he's got a really strange name with a tick in it.
Yeah.
Actually, he doesn't have a tick.
Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of players I'm honestly targeting in this point in the draft. Because finding consistent production is very unlikely. Unless there's someone that we are both completely overlooking. So taking a young player like him, or maybe a second, third year guy where has shown some flash, some type of upside.
Mm-hmm.
In a good system. It's he's in a good system. And I don't want to say his name because we've been saying names that have been coming off the board, so I am going to keep it to myself.
His name will come up in the next couple of rounds for sure.
Yeah, so he is in a good system. He's been having a really terrific preseason. He's a lot of good buzz surrounding him.
But he is a rookie.
Training camp. Yeah,
and they do
definitely
have other players on that team that have experience.
But if there's anyone who can make a rookie receiver have a really good season, it is Breeze.
Yeah.
We're still not saying anything. We got to make sure our listeners are aware of who we're talking about.
Yeah,
that's another young receiver, right. Portland Sutton, who has been doing well.
Gotcha. Like we talked about before, there's a lot of value right now in drafts. We may not see it. You're taking probabilities. And if you can get one guy in the last 4 or 5 picks that's going to shine, then you put yourself one step ahead of the rest of the people. And so don't give up in these last rounds when you're just your eyes are getting tired looking at these names. There's some guys down here that are going to perform quite well. And you just got to think hard and, try and take these upsides like Ryan Grant. If Luck is back at 90%, Ryan Grant's the number 2 running receiver if he is. He's going to get some targets. He's a good player from Washington coming over to Indianapolis. He's got one of the best quarterbacks if he is back. And T.Y. Hilton's going to be triple teamed, etc. Good pick for the bottom of the 14th round from the Assassins.
Yeah. I agree there. And sometimes this is where you win your fantasy leagues, with one of these picks and this later in the draft. And there he goes. Raekwon Smith just went.
Oh, did he really? Here I thought I was going to take him, and he's gone.
No.
All right. So my Connor pick is caused me some consternation, but you can't have them all. It's something you have to think about. All right. So let's see. 4 before my pick. I got to think of what I'm going to do. Don't tell me I'm going to have to take a Blunt. Like Garrett Blunt.
You might just have to.
How big is this Tywayne Taylor physically?
Size?
Yeah, let me look him up real quick on footballdiehards.com.
There you go.
Well, I can't find him because I'm... there he is.
He's 5'11".
198. He's not a huge guy.
No. He's having a good preseason, like you mentioned. It's just a matter of, is it because of the injuries and the players that they're holding out, or is it because he's really going to have, a big role here? It kind of reminds me of Tajay Sharp, from I believe it was last year, where the preseason was good and a couple decent weeks, but kind of just disappeared. I'm not saying that it's going to be the case here with Taylor, but just something to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to And that's one of the hardest things to do is to kind of filter preseason. Sometimes it's not
Mohamed
that
Sanu
easy.
is someone I have on my list there too. That's a good pick.
Yeah,
I really think Mohamed
last-
Sanu is going to have a respectable season considering where he's being drafted. I think he's going to provide those who take him this late some value. Now the upside is certainly not what you're looking for.
In whom?
In Mohamed Sanu. I just think he's going to be playing a lot of the slot,
right.
which benefits him.
Yep. Well, see, I'm doing that thing where I'm just sitting here thinking, what did I do? One more pick before me. I was kind of liking Baltimore's defense.
Is Keenan Cole?
Keenan Cole went a long time ago.
Because you see,
He went in the 11th round.
See, I haven't taken him off my. I'm still taking some guys off my list now. So.
All right, so AJ Austin Safarian Jenkins went. His second tight end. I'm kind of sitting here where I don't really have somebody that's just jumping out at me. So I'm going to take the Denver's defense, who I have ranked 7th on my cheat sheet, which is, and then I'll just see what comes back to me, and maybe I'll pick one of those guys. But I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, I've got a late round sleeper that, of course, it's the late rounds that nobody's picking, basically because he missed a lot of preseason, and he's a slot receiver who could get a lot of catches. I don't really have my thought process together here. There's just a lot of guys, and I don't have a great feel for them.
So I'm on deck, aren't I? Or no,
one more guy. So you got 2 guys before you.
And there you go, tight end. So I'm not going to waste any time here.
You're not going to waste any time. Who are you going to take? Oh, Edmonds. There you go. That's another guy like Connor.
Yeah. And
you got your second quarterback, even though you didn't have a first quarterback.
Well, this is the thing. When you like I said earlier, unless I have a legitimate first, QB1 that I'm fully comfortable in, I will take a second quarterback. And that's the case here. Marcus Mariota, I do like him. I do have him ranked, top 16, I believe, but that's not a QB1 in by any means. So I'm going to go ahead and take another guy I'm pretty high on. They have different bye weeks, so I can, if I need to fill in a bye week here, I would do that. And so that's why I went with Eli Manning, and I do have high expectations for him. This is an offense that I'm looking forward to watch. And if we have, if we're projecting good things from Odell Beckham, good things from Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, and Sterling Shepard, the quarterback has to be productive, right? Something I always say.
And you've got him as the 19th quarterback taken in the top of the 16th round. I don't know how longer you can wait to take a guy who could end up being a top 12 quarterback or better. I'm going to take LeGarrette Blount because I'm tired of looking at this list, and he literally could be the starting running back for Detroit for a significant portion of the year. And he's just not sexy. But he is now on my team.
Not at all.
Not at all. But, think about it. Think about it. The other guy's a rookie. This guy's an experienced vet. He's going to probably be at the goal line. That's a pick. What if he ends up being a top 25 running back? It wouldn't be insane to think. He's done it before. So,
correct.
Not 16th round, my last skill position player. Well, actually, I got one more after that because I got a kicker, and then I got one more pick. These guys are taking a long line. 2 hours and 11 minutes in this draft. These guys are very careful.
Yeah. You think by now.
See, the problem, the problem we've got right now is, Grant was good because his quarterback is high. You look at Taywan Taylor, and is he just a preseason guy? His quarterback is Mariota, and they run the ball a lot. Westbrook, really interesting character. Jacksonville, they're going to run the ball a lot. Geronimo Allison maybe for Green Bay, if you think he's going to make it all higher up in the depth chart. That's the kind of stuff you're dealing with right now.
Exactly. And that's what you got to look out for, at this point of the draft.
Here's one of my favorite kickers, Harrison Butker for Kansas City.
And there, it's the kicker and defense for me in the next 2 rounds. So I don't have much to think about as far as the next 2 rounds are concerned.
Yeah, maybe I should have taken a kicker. I like getting one of the top kickers. I don't know why, not top, but it's really stupid because like even Gano for Carolina could be very productive, and you can just get him in the 17th, the 18th round, hopefully.
Yeah. And now, there's still, so you have already one defense, right?
Yes.
And then you are
Denver
still
Broncos.
lacking the.
I just need a kicker and a skill position.
Someone like Kenneth Dixon would be intriguing.
That's a good point.
For you. I was between him and Edmonds. I just went with the, I think with the higher upside.
He's looking good.
But Dixon is one of those guys that could just be in the mix, You can just be in the mix.
Oh, yeah. He's another one of those forgotten guys, but, Alex Collins is kind of a guy he's playing really well now. Seattle let him go. They cut the guy, and here he is, a starter in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Hines went. Jalen Richards went for Oakland. Hopefully these guys will start drafting a little quicker here.
We would hope so, right?
Yep. Well, not a bad draft. It certainly didn't got snarked on Barber. Royce Freeman I was very seriously considering in 4th round. I got sniped about 3 times, but that happens. Marshawn Lynch, that hurt. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And those things will happen in drafts,
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you got to adjust and you got to make changes and you got to make moves. And just be prepared at all times, That wasn't the case for me when I got all drafted, but I didn't realize the timer.
It happens. It's not a horrible pick.
No, at that point in the draft, it could have been far worse. Fortunately, what had happened there for me is I had clicked his name, and I continued looking around for someone else who I was looking for, and couldn't find him, and so picked Mariota. But I'm okay with it. You know what? I do think that he could have a nice season here.
Sure.
Definitely
a lot of people are predicting him as a sleeper quarterback. I like it. He's a running quarterback. That John Kelly for Los Angeles Rams running back just went. He's looked good. Yeah. But he's the number 3 running back there. Or no, he's number. Correct. I'm not sure. I think he's number 3. Yeah.
No. Well, it depends.
Yeah. He could be valuable, but
depends
most likely not. Well, he's got Gurley, so he backed up Gurley with Kelly.
Which makes sense. If you're doing that, that makes a ton of sense. But yeah, he the depth chart right now, he's listed as a 3, but I do think he's a 2. That's why I said depends. I went to check it really quick. But I do think he'll ultimately be the backup here for Gurley.
Here's another tight end I like, Elliott.
Yeah, it's Jake Elliott.
I'm not really sure what tight end I'm going to take.
That's a kicker.
Excuse me, kicker. I am getting tired.
Yeah.
It's hot in this corner.
I know
the studio
because you were talking about kickers before.
Yeah, I'm a little tired. Well.
Yes.
A lot of options here. Foreman's not gone. Deontay Foreman, I figured he'd go by now. And how many receivers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 6 and 6. I really should take a receiver here, but I'm really tempted to take Foreman. Just as a wild card at this point. Wow. Maybe I'll take the Edelman-Welker lookalike for the Dallas Cowboys, who's been out. And
there you go, Cole Beasley.
Yep, he's on my. He's at the top of my list right now. I'm just not sure if I'm going to take him.
There's still several wide receivers that are a little appealing. I guess to
I've got a whole bunch of them. I mean, Westbrook's not a bad. I still got the Tywayne Taylor sitting here. Paul Richardson, surprised he's still here. Geronimo, and there's probably many more that I didn't mention.
Yeah, that's why. There goes Paul Richardson. As soon as you mention the name, I mean, I think they're listening to you, Emil. I really do. I think there's the inside scoop there. So
I like him too. I like him, but I took Doxson, so I kind of like, don't know if I want to get 2 shares of Washington's receivers. Well, I'm going to probably take Beasley here. He's a slot guy, and they're going to, with Dak Prescott gone, Des Bryant, he may end up getting a lot of catches.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing the guy just mentioned on the message board. Aguilar still has not been taken, which is really surprising, but I'm not going to take him. I'm going to take Beasley, which is totally nuts because Aguilar
was taken.
Good. I just didn't mark him off my list. I feel much better because I really should take him before Beasley, and I took Beasley. There's a lot of guys. That Bryant guy, for Oakland, he's got
Martavis Bryant.
He's got great upside, which I didn't take. So I'm done with a kicker to come here.
Yeah.
So who are you thinking of here?
Well, I got to go kicker and defense because I have neither of the 2 positions.
I see.
Yeah. So
leave me a good kicker.
Pretty much. I'm gonna go with an indoor guy probably. I like taking that approach. So probably what I'll do here.
Yeah.
I am on the clock.
Boswell's a good kicker. They score a lot of points, but sometimes they go for 2 points a little more frequently than I like.
Yeah. So I'm going Adam Vinatieri. I think the Colts can score here. Indoor
still
kicker.
Kicking. Yep.
He's still kicking.
That's incredible.
He faces Jacksonville, which shouldn't have too much concern for twice a year, which there shouldn't be too much concern with weather there. Faces Houston twice a year,
that's good. That's
once away.
Great analysis.
8 games at home, so you're talking about 10 games. I don't have to be concerned about any type of weather.
That is nice.
And then let's see here. What defense do I want to take?
You got 30 seconds, so.
Yeah. I'm going to make it right now. All right, let's just... Patriots. They get Dolphins twice, Buffalo twice, the Jets twice. Should be fun.
Yep. Oh, somebody took the Taylor character I was talking about. Finally.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm going to take... oh, crikey. What just happened? I took the wrong guy. I got Prater. I meant to take Gano. Nonetheless.
No,
good.
Prater went to Team White, not to you.
Oh, okay. Well, they said it was on deck. Okay. I'm going to take Gano. I took Gano. High production offense. They can kick a lot of field goals too.
Yeah.
Well, that's been a good draft. I think hopefully the listeners have learned a lot. There.
You know, I think the rest of the way you're going to see people filling out the kickers, defenses, and or any, you know.
And Nunwa is a good pick there by Big Red.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Brandon Marshall went as well. So here is just pretty much dart throws trying to see if it pans out. And then I think another one is actually an interesting pick there.
Which one? Nunwa?
Quincy.
Yeah, he was playing quite well before he got hurt last year. He's probably going to be starting opposite Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
Hey, finally a second quarterback to Iron Horse, Trubisky. That's a good pick for the 18th round, Trubisky.
It is, you know. It is. And you know, just some things here. You know, Jameis Winston, he's going undrafted. I think that can be, you know, somewhat a mistake here because once he returns from suspension, I do think he has a ton of upside. So he's probably going to be one of those players who gets, you know, who someone's using a lot of their fab budget on come week 4, week 3, week 4, when he's set to return. And then Baker Mayfield is another one. I think we're going to see people wasting fab, you know, dollars on eventually. These are guys that go undrafted that, you know, come something to think about on draft day when you're doing these kind of leagues. So maybe, you know, not take an extra tight end. Maybe take one of these as your backup quarterback if you've drafted, you know, an Aaron Rodgers, Cam Newton, Tom Brady. You know, take a player who may not play early on and kind of going undrafted. And you could pretty much take them in the last round of this draft. Something to think about, I think. You know, kind of a strategy when doing these kind of drafts.
And then, of course, as the season starts in the first couple of weeks, you need to be watching these same kind of things as players start to either play well or not play well. And, you know, of course, it's the balance of don't cut guys too quickly, but be watching these guys and be ready to make a move. Always have guys on your roster that you're ready to let go when you decide, you know, it's time to take a chance. And it's free agent bidding, so it's not like you're, you know, first come, first serve or anything. One player left in the draft. Doug Martin just went to team.
Who will it be? I think that's a decent pickup here this late in the draft as well.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I don't know if I did that well, but I did pretty close. I got a lot of guys I wanted to get, so it's my fault if I don't do well.
And at the end of the day, that is the best thing of it. It's your guys. You like them, you pick them, and that's when you never go wrong. You know, it's better to do that than to say, well, I liked him, but I didn't draft him because he was, you know, the ADP wasn't right, so I went with someone else. I wasn't on my board. I you know, it's you'll second guess yourself when you do that.
What is this guy doing? This guy's taking his whole. He's
been taking his sweet time the entire draft. Actually, I know this. There's been several people calling him out.
Yeah, that's a long hour and 26 minutes without a break. Excuse me, 2 hours and 26 minutes, 18 run. That's kind of long. I think these guys were savoring the draft, which is fine.
Yeah, and he's literally been milking the clock. I mean, he'll pick with 2 seconds left.
And there you go.
Just don't,
Mr. Ware.
Don't do that if you're drafting guys.
Yeah, I've had professionals do that kind of stuff. Just, I don't know why, just a showboat or something. Well, excellent stuff. Great,
yes, sir.
Great draft, and I really enjoyed it. A lot of teams I like in this draft.
Yeah,
well, fantastic. Yeah. Any last comments?
No, I mean, it just hopefully the viewers and the listeners get to see the different approach we take in a regular season-long league, a PPR season-long league over a best ball draft. Totally different. And, hopefully you get something out of that. And if there is time this week, maybe we'll do another one.
Yeah, we may be able to pull one off if everything we catch up on everything. It'd be fun to do one really, late in the week or whatnot, or even there's a lot of people that draft over the weekend and even into next week. Well, great, wonderful, Armando. Really enjoyed doing this with you.
Yep, me too.
All right, 1, 2, 3, we're gone. Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye.